So I think there's two big changes that are happening in shopping centers
Okay.
that are extremely noteworthy for retail. The first is the shift to mixed use, and the second is the increasing focus on the concept of placemaking. Right. So let's break both of those down. Mixed use is not, I mean, this isn't like a shocking idea. If I had a center that was, heavily oriented towards retail, it now has a blurring of those lines. There's more health going on. There's more office involved. There might be a co-working space. The classic mix of tenants is getting shaken up by new people wanting to be involved, new players wanting to be involved in these top tier centers, and less concerned about the traditional feeling of where they belong and where they don't belong. That has some really interesting implications.
Hmm.
Even let's say take the most basic site selection perspective. If I have a dentist office in a center next to, I don't know, a Kohl's and a Ross, what does that mean if normally that would have been, a retailer that I would say, hey, if I see these three retailers in a center,
Right.
I know I want to be there. If it's not, that Kohl's and a Ross, if it's a dental office and a co-working space, I kind of need to get creative about what does this mean from my perspective on the center? Is this actually somewhere I want to be? Could this be better for me? Could this be worse? It
Hmm.
really changes that perspective, and it forces um, some really interesting questions of like, do I want to be around competitors? Do I actually feel like there's a better environment for me in places where it's a totally kind of less more retail barren landscape? Are there different
Right.
types of tenants that are better for me? So that's one piece. The second piece is this idea of placemaking, and I think it's fascinating. We see such interesting data around this. And we think of placemaking, the place we had classically heard about it was actually in the economic development world. So municipalities trying to say, how do I create areas where, or city areas where people want to spend time, right? Events that will make you want to come to my city square, downtown area, a concert somewhere. But I think it's coming to retail too. It's happening in major malls with, hey, how do I make a sitting area where you'll want to work for an hour after you've been shopping? But there's also this element of things like EV charging stations
Hmm.
in parking lots
Hmm.
or kind of these sitting areas in outdoor shopping centers. Something really interesting we saw is 7-Elevens that have a car wash adjacent do significantly better in terms of visits than the nationwide average, right? Which is a really interesting, makes sense addition. But
Hmm.
that EV charging station is a really cool concept because I don't know if I'm a coffee place and I know that someone has to stop their car for, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes to get, a charge. That's a station I want to be in. And I want to advertise on that screen that's there and
Right.
saying, hey, stopping for a charge, bring your coupon and get 50 cents off your cup of Joe. Like this is a cool way of thinking about where I want to be based on the added opportunities that a shopping center is bringing me from things that have nothing to do with their tenancy.